Hi, and welcome along to a game of two halves here on DR Sports with Mark Goldbridge in the building. How you doing?
Not too bad for me. Man United won against Burnley, but interesting transfer deadline day as well.
It's a very interesting transfer deadline day. Of course, the transfer window closing tonight at 7 p.m. and we are going to touch on that because there's some big news around that. However, we've got to start off with the big game of the weekend. It was Liverpool coming out on top, winning 1-0. I was at the game. Szoboszlai with an absolute screamer to win the game, Mark. Lots of criticism after the game for my manager, Mikel Arteta of Arsenal. What did you make of the game? What did you make of everything that went on around it?
I just think we've spoken about it before, and I've got no idea what you're going to say, so we may disagree. But I just think this is an indication of modern football. We were talking about it with Amrim last week. Pep Guardiola's lost 2 games. No one's talking about it. Eddie Howe's got 2 from 9. Emery's got 1 from 9. No one's talking about it. But, you know, Amrim's the manager to sack. And now Arsenal go to Anfield, lose 1-0 because of a goal that's good enough to win any game. It was absolutely unstoppable. And suddenly he's Stoke, he's too defensive. I saw Carragher going on about it. And I thought, you know what? I watched that game. It wasn't the best game in the world. But Arsenal was so composed in the first half. They were never, you know, I've seen teams at Anfield terrified, crumble. Arsenal were in control of the game. I thought Liverpool's defence was well organised and brilliant. I thought Van Dijk was probably the best player on the pitch. And I also thought Arsenal did their normal job defensively. And I don't agree that Arsenal went to that game and played negative and defensive. I just think they couldn't break Liverpool's defence down. 2 best teams in England going head-to-head, Arsenal away, nearly got a draw and didn't because of a worldie. Massively disappointed if you're an Arsenal fan, but I didn't see any evidence of that's why Arsenal are going to finish second. It's early in the season. Liverpool have had an amazing start and they're about now adding Isak in.
Yeah. I mean, Mark, I was going to say literally what you said. So I was at the game, obviously. The first half, I thought we were in complete control of the game. And I've never been to Anfield and seeing Arsenal in complete control of the game. You're normally suffering a lot and you get a few chances. I thought we controlled the game in the first half. Second half was a lot more even. I thought Liverpool came back into it.
Yeah.
The game, you know, like you said, the 2 teams were cancelling each other out. They were, you know, 2 very good, well-organised teams cancelling each other out. And, you know, it was... I agree with what Arteta said. It's either going to turn on a moment or it's going to be someone's got to do something magical to win the game. And it was Szoboszlai with an unbelievable free kick. It reminded me when Declan Rice hit those ones against Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Just won the game for them. Arne Slot said the same thing after the game. But, you know what I mean? Like you said, Arteta's been getting absolutely hammered. Now, where I will say, you know, I'll say this, right? If he wins the game, if it says the other way round, all Carragher, all these guys will be saying it's a masterclass. The other day when Tottenham played with 3 defensive midfielders, you know, got the game won against Man City, tactical masterclass. You know what I mean? We see that all the time. But the problem that Arteta's got is that we didn't win the game, right? And if you go into the game with Mikel Merino playing in that position, because that's the thing that did surprise me before the game. I think to myself, right, Nwaneri's going to start. We know that there's a problem with Odegaard. He's probably not going to play the whole game. We'll start with Nwaneri. If you've gone with that tactic, right, and it doesn't work, then people are going to criticize you and say, well, why? You know, there wasn't enough creativity. You didn't go for it enough and stuff like that. But we've seen teams go for it at Anfield and get absolutely hammered. And we see Mikel Arteta deploy these tactics a lot against the bigger teams away from home. And let's remember, I think it's the first time he's lost in 28 games against the big 6 teams. So, and at half-time, I was in that ground, right? And I didn't hear one Arsenal fan complaining. Every one of them was saying, this is going well, this is going good. I fancy us today. But that's the narrative of football. You know what I mean? If you lose it, then all of a sudden it switches completely the other way. This is where, you know, it's a bit ridiculous, but it switches completely the other way. The narrative's completely the other way. You didn't go for it. You didn't this, you didn't that. You know, if he goes up there and goes for it and we get hammered, then, I thought it was a game that was, you saw two teams there that they're even. I mean, all right, that might change when Isak comes in, but you see two even teams there, and he's turned on a worldie. And I'm with you with what you say. I mean, some of the stuff I've seen today, I think is so far over the top. You know what I mean? They've even tried to, I saw the interview with David Raya where he's asked a question about the ball. And this is the thing that gets me sometimes, right? Like, if we did that, like, we get criticized, this, that. They ask a question about the ball because they know what they're doing. They want to try and clip it up.
Yeah.
He simply answered it, and he said, listen, we got to get used to this new ball, but it's the same for everybody. He's not using it as no excuse or nothing. They're all of a sudden clipped up, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like, this is where we're at.
No one's saving that anyway, are they? I mean, I watched it back and I couldn't understand how it got in. But I think, looking at the game, you'll be old enough. I was talking about this yesterday. I said, like, I remember a game. I don't know whether it was 1-0, but Man United, Arsenal, bit like Arsenal, Liverpool now, two best teams in England. Highbury, really tight game. Man United are away. We're doing well. Really tight game. Free kick into the feet of Henry, back to goal, flips it up, volleys it in, and you just go, shit. What can you do about that? Like, they're going to win the game now, and it's turned on a moment, and you're sort of like, we're really equal. We're both going for the title. We're away from home, and he's gone and done that. And that's like what happened yesterday. And as for people saying it was boring, look, there are always going to be elements of boring, but I look at that battle between Madueke and Kirkez. If Madueke wins that battle, I think Arsenal win the game 2-0. It was, I don't think he loses the battle. I think it was just a battle between two players that was really exciting every time they got it, exposed that in that one-on-one. And Kirkez at times was last ditch block or tackle. You got people talking about Gyökeres saying he's a flop again. He's up against Konate and Van Dijk at Anfield. We've seen Haaland so many times get shut down in these types of games.
Crazy.
But he's a flop again. And that's
the thing is, right?
Now,
I came out of the ground. This Liverpool fan said to me, he goes, "Oh, that Gyökeres. Blah, blah, blah." I said, what about Ekitike? What did he do? He didn't have a kick in the game. It's the same thing. As a matter of fact, Liverpool's front three is the same way our front three was, apart from Madueke. I thought he had a good game. He was yummy and he did really well. But our front three got cancelled out by their defence, which was really, really good. And their front three, Salah was missing the whole game. So was Ekitike. So was Gakpo. Those are three of the very best. Yeah. So it was defences on top in the game. Defenses and midfield were on top. It was, it wasn't the greatest game because we see this a lot of times when you get two really good teams and they cancel each other out. And I just think some of the stuff, as I said, when this guy was going to me about Gyökeres, when I said about Ekitike, he goes, actually, yeah, okay.
But it's got to be this narrative, haven't they? People need to ring in and moan about something because nowadays, if you lose a game of football, you can't just go, I'm disappointed, but let's move on. You've got to moan about something. And look, Arsenal will not win the league because they lose 1-0 to a worldie at Liverpool. You've got them at the Emirates. If you beat them there, you're back level again. Arsenal won't win the league because they'll draw at home to Everton or something like that. All Arsenal got to do is, and Arteta, you could tell after the game, he was disappointed, but I think he knows what's happened there. You can't go and drop points now against the Villas and the Evertons at home. Arsenal's got to go and win them games. Yeah. I think it'll be fine.
That's what cost us the league last year. I think what he's got to do, though, is, and I'm not necessarily saying in a game like that, away at Anfield, which for me is the hardest away game. I think in the other games now, you get Eze deployed, you get these sort of players, so you do get that creativity. And, and what I took heart from is that we've got a really good squad now. I mean, people also forget in that game, right, that, Liverpool, Arne Slot said after the game, he goes, I have my Fulls team to pick from. The only player missing was Frimpong, but I had my full side really to pick from. So that was the only change I had to make, which was like bringing in Szoboszlai because I didn't have Frimpong or Bradley. Whereas Arteta, Saliba goes down after a couple of minutes. He has to bring in Mosquera. I thought it done brilliantly in the game.
Brilliant. I thought it was really good.
Looks like a fantastic signing. You got like new players playing the game all over the pitch. You got players that, like in Madueke, there's no Saka, there's no, it's not an excuse because I'm happy because we did really, really well. And I see there that we've got a really, really good squad. But Arteta is going to come under this pressure a lot in games because he does now have tools at his disposal, right? So the expectation, you've seen it already with the criticism he's got. the expectation now is going to be to win a lot of these games. But you know, I'm with you on it. Let's well, actually, as we're talking about Liverpool, I mean, you're on the verge now of signing Alexander Isak. That's going to happen today. Fee of around about 125 to 130 million pounds. Should also get Mark Gahey done as well. Add into the team that they've got. Do you look at it and say who's going to stop them with the squad now that they've got now, especially that front line? That is serious.
I mean, I was going to say we've spoken a lot about Arsenal there, quite rightly, because I think they've had a lot of bad press. But let's not forget Liverpool 3 from 3. They've not. I've watched every game. Any Liverpool fan would say they're not at their best yet. And they've managed to have a perfect start. They're now adding in Isak and Guehi. It's been an incredible summer. I mean, I think up until today, Arsenal have had the best window. 8 players in. They've got a really good squad now. But I think Liverpool just edge it with Isak and Guehi and what they've done now. So look, they're the title holders and they've had the best summer transfer window. I've never known a window like it. I think the window, the record has been smashed. And I think all the big clubs, especially Arsenal and Liverpool, have gone, we want to win the Champions League as well. We want to be in the Champions League every year. We want to win the Premier League. And, you know, it's a massive statement to everybody else that maybe in the past teams win the league and they go, we need 1 or 2. Liverpool have gone and bought, 5, 6, I think, top quality players. All right, tragic what's happened to Jota and obviously Trent leaving as well on a free. But they've gone ridiculously strong. Arsenal have gone strong. We saw yesterday that they're the 2 best teams, and I've gone for Arsenal to win the league because I've just got a feeling. Obviously, I understand that Liverpool are the favourites and they're going to be really hard to beat. And the thing is, when you win 3 games like they have, I remember it a long time ago with United, when you win when you're not at your best, there's such a boost. Then you bring a player like Isak in. The only thing it can do, though, is sometimes you can bring a player in like that. Everyone goes, this is going to be amazing. And it might not work. And I suppose that's the hope for everybody is that it might not work. But it's brilliant.
It better not work. Because if it works, man, they're going to be serious. I mean, that's the only thing. I think the only worry, well, it's not a worry for any. If you're a Liverpool fan, would be the only worry is how's that going to work between him and Salah? Because sometimes you got a player, each one of them want to be the big dog. I don't know. Listen, but it's a great signing. You know what I mean? It's a fantastic signing to get Isak. I think what we're seeing now is a lot of these teams are looking on it and saying this new format of the Champions League, every game now you got to take seriously. So you do need like literally 2 teams.
Yeah, look at the injuries as well.
Yeah, and then the injuries. So, I think Liverpool have had the best transfer window, probably Arsenal next. United's Emi Martinez, would you be happy with that signing? That's been muted today.
Very happy, yeah. I mean, look, I get the idea of bringing in this Lemens, who's a young keeper who could be the next Courtois, but I look at what happened before the Burnley game. Look at what happened with Grimsby. Man United are not a club that can be patient. Garnacho's heading out. There's talk of Mainu. The best signings we've made this summer are Cunha and Mbeumo because they're Premier League proven and they're experienced. I look at Man City next after the international break. Do I want a 23-year-old unknown from Belgium who might be good? Or do I want Emi Martinez, who for me is in the top 5 goalkeepers in the Premier League? United are fighting now. So I like this signing. I don't know which way we're going to go, but I think United need to be now. Otherwise, you're sacking your manager. There is no patience. We've seen it with Arsenal. You lose 1-0 to a worldie and people are going, Arteta out and all this nonsense. So you've got to bring the players in for the now. And I'd go Emi Martinez.
On touching on Manchester United, then let's talk about the 2 Manchester clubs. Actually, first of all, Man United, because as you're a United fan, and a real boost for you guys winning that game in the last minute. I mean, Bruno Fernandes showed a cool head, buried the penalty. Should it have been a penalty? But buried the penalty. But a much needed win for Amorim.
I'm so glad we won. I mean, just for the fans, because it's been. You're not going to sack a manager. That Ineos are not going to sack Amorim. So all would have happened is this toxicity for 2 weeks. And, I want United to win always, but I was just so pleased we found a way to win that because it just takes the pressure off a little bit. But really, Scott Parker was right. United are a decent team. They're not as bad as people make out. We did play well against Arsenal. Fulham away point isn't terrible. And Fulham would have won at Stamford Bridge if it weren't for bloody VAR. So the reality is, I think that we should have been 3-0 up at half time. We made it hard work typically, and then you need a penalty at the end. But the result was right. It was just, I knew it, Robbie. I knew that game was, we never do 2 or 3-0 comfortable against anyone. So I knew it was going to be like that. And to be honest, I'm just glad we got the 3 points.
Yeah, City, on the other hand, lost at Brighton despite going 1-0 up through Erling Haaland. James Milner, this guy's a machine, with a goal in the game. And what a win for Brighton. But Man City now, that's 2 defeats on the bounce. Is it worrying signs down there? They just don't look themselves at the moment.
No, I think I watched a bit of the first half, and then the second half I did watch it, and I had to check online to see if City had a man sent off, because the momentum, like last season, same thing happened. They were 1-0 up at Brighton. Second half, Brighton destroyed them, and same thing happened again. They had all the momentum. They deserved the win. Thought that Gruder who came on was brilliant, but they had all the momentum. And Man City, I'll say it, look, I think Pep should have gone in the summer. Pep walks into a half-built project, spends money, brilliant coach, and walks. He ain't a rebuilder of clubs, and that team needs it's a new team. And I think they're going to struggle. I think they've lost their air of invincibility. Obviously, Rodri, they don't lose. Well, now they do in the league. And I just think, well, they've got Arsenal in a couple of games. I'd expect Arsenal to win that. That'd be 3 losses out of the first 5. I don't know what City should be challenging for titles, and I just don't see it. So I think they're not going to sack Pep, but I think they've got big problems, and you can see it in their players as well. They're not the same as they used to be.
Yeah, definitely not their fluent best at the moment. The big surprise yesterday was Nottingham Forest losing at home to West Ham. Graham Potter's been under pressure. There was a lot of people saying that, if he don't win this, the dreaded international break was coming in, and then that would be it for him. But what a win. 3-0. Paqueta kissing the badge as well when he scored that penalty. Massive win for West Ham.
Yeah, I mean, look, I was surprised. I think we both went for a Forest win in win, lose or draw. And I think most people did as well. And I think Forest have had a good transfer window, but you do wonder if that's going to be the last sort of game now for Nuno, because, that's a pounding at home, and you're not popular with the manager. Jose Mourinho sat there. So I actually thought it might be the Mourinho derby. Whoever loses that probably sacks their manager and gets Mourinho. So maybe you do want to lose it. I don't know. But I mean, look, there were some great results in the Premier League this weekend, especially for away teams. And that's probably with Bournemouth at Spurs, the pick of the bunch. It's an incredible win for a team that just doesn't look anywhere, and a clean sheet as well. So great result for West Ham, but might be a turbulent international break at the City ground.
Yeah, and another unbelievable result as well. Crystal Palace going away to Villa, never an easy place to go to, and winning 3-0. This is without Eze. What a win that was. And Unai Emery's off to a really bad start. 1
point from 9. Well, I just said it is, we do win, lose or draw on a Friday, like I say, and you don't normally go for away wins, especially there's been so many. But I mean, look, Glasner's a great coach. Palace are a good team. It's a shame that people are picking off their players, because I think if they kept them, who knows what would have been possible. I mean, maybe they could have been this year's, Fulham or Brentford, finish really high up, or even Forest. But yeah, I mean, brilliant result for Palace, well organised. It'd be interesting to see if they can spend some of that money in the last day. I hope they can, because you want to see them doing well. They're a good team for the Premier League. But on the other hand, I don't really understand what's going on at Villa. We mentioned last week that no signings might sometimes, staying how you are doesn't necessarily work. 1 point from 9 is horrific. I don't think they've scored a goal yet either. I don't know whether that's right. I don't think they have. Horrific start. And now they've been linked to Jadon Sancho. It don't get any better.
Chelsea 2, Fulham 0, but that doesn't tell the full story. A perfectly good goal for Fulham, disallowed. Right. Absolute. When I saw it at the time, I was like, what are they doing now? What's going on with these VAR? They actually stood down the VAR referee for, I think he was supposed to have been involved in the Arsenal game yesterday. They should have stood down the ref as well. Do these refs now, what's the point in going to the screen and having a look at something when you know you're never going to overturn what your mate said up in the VAR? It's scandalous now. The referees this season, for me, have got off to a horrendous start again.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching the game and I turned it off. No offense to Chelsea, I turned it off because it's not Chelsea's fault. I think they're a victim as well, even though they benefit from it. Next week they probably won't. But when you see it, never a foul. Look, you can tread on someone's foot accidentally. That's not a foul. That's not a challenge. But what annoyed me is that, as you said, VAR get it wrong. Why are you refereeing a game that the referee saw? And then the referee, like, I've seen it in Europe, they overrule VAR. They go, no, I'm sticking with my decision. Like, you can see it. This has happened so many times, Robbie, where the VAR get it wrong. And the safety net is the ref to go, no, I'm going to stick with what they do. And this mates rates nonsense. And what annoyed me the most was Marco Silva at half time goes to talk to the ref and he's there pointing him away, get away, get away. What should happen now is that referee should go to Craven Cottage after the international break and at the start of the game, get on his mic and apologise. That's what should happen. Because he's happy to go on his mic and verify his mates' load of rubbish. I mean, it was shocking and it would have changed the game completely. And that lad, 18 years of age, scoring a goal like that as well. It's they are ruining football. And what does an apology do for Fulham? It doesn't do anything really, does it? What does an apology do? We know the PGML are shit. We know you got it wrong. Apologies do nothing.
When's the guy from the top gonna come out and just managers have to face pressure. We see Arteta getting sticker after losing yesterday. He never seems to, he's in charge of these lot. What's going on?
I don't know why he's still in a job. He should be sacked. I don't like to see people being sacked, but that organisation needs an absolute, top to bottom. And it's not just the bad decisions as well. I was watching Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, Fulham, Man United, Burnley. Every single game is so stop-start. It's like every little push is a foul. And you're like, as a referee, okay, that might be a foul, but I'll let it go because when the next team do it, I'll let it go. I'm here to make this game flow. And the Premier League look, we've just spoken about the spend, the title race. It's a good league, but the officiating, not just the decisions. Our league, when you compare it to other European leagues, it's too stop-start. And the whole big thing about the Premier League is the fast pace of it. It's not as fast-paced as it could be because it's stop-start for every little push. And again, they're dictators. They don't understand what their job is, which is actually to not be seen very often.
Yeah, and they're being seen way too much. Sunderland 2, Brentford 1. Sunderland, great result for them. If they're going to stay up, it's going to be the home form, but great result for them, Mark.
6 from 9. That's all they can do. I'd love to see somebody stay up. I said Sunderland had a good summer transfer window. Yeah, if you can win your home games, you've got a great chance. And I think I think last season, the promoted 3 didn't have 6 points together till Christmas. I mean, I'm joking, but you know what I mean. It's a great start for them.
Yeah, great start as well for Everton, winning 3-2 against Wolves. Jack Grealish again with another great game.
Well, I think we both got him in our team of the week. He was brilliant by all accounts. And Everton have got. I looked at Everton's team and look, they're never going to get top 6, but they certainly shouldn't be doing what Everton have done for years and be down at the relegation zone. So new stadium, new look Everton team. I think they're looking good for comfortably, around mid-table at the moment.
Yeah. Spurs, the big shock of the weekend, one of them, losing at home to Bournemouth. Bournemouth, who started the season well, 1-0. And actually, if you watch the highlights of that game, they got absolutely bad in the game as well. Bournemouth were excellent. Very fortunate not to win this by more. Tottenham brought down to earth with a real bump.
Yeah, look, Spursy result, a home game. We were talking about this, weren't we? It's the sort of game that old Spurs would lose and then new Spurs lose. Welcome to Spurs, Thomas Frank. No one's surprised by it, apart from the fact that they had a good start. And I just think the real story is Bournemouth. I think they've lost a lot of players and that coach is fantastic. And they've had a good start. They nearly got something at Anfield, from 2-0 down to 2-2. So brilliant for Bournemouth. And, back to the drawing board for Spurs. It ain't that easy, is it?
No. And then we're not a lot to talk about. Leeds 0, Newcastle 0. Bit of a bore fest, that one. Let's get into our team of the week.
Yeah.
Goalkeeper. I went Henderson, Palace.
Yeah,
clean sheet.
I completely agree. I just wanted to give a bit of a shock shout out to James Trafford. I actually thought he played well for Man City. He made some big saves. Obviously, I agree with Henderson, but he had a bad week last week, and I did watch a lot of that game. He had a good game, but I've got a few shout outs for people, but I agree with Henderson. Yeah.
Okay, give me your back four.
I've gone Szoboszlai, Guehi, Van Dijk, and Kirkes with a shout out for Mascara. I thought he played really well.
Yeah, I've actually gone Szoboszlai, Diouf of West Ham, did really well. Gay, who scored massive goal for Palace, and he's on his way out, but he scored a great goal. And Konate, who I actually thought was the better of the two, even though he came off injured. I thought he really, handled the physicality of Gyökeres brilliantly. I thought he had a really good game. He's been looking shaky this season, but he certainly weren't shaky at all yesterday. He played really, really well. So that was my back four.
Well, I don't mind Konate instead of Van Dijk because it's the same principle, isn't it? So
yeah.
Who did you have left back?
Diouf of West Ham. Who did you have?
Kirkes, but I didn't see the West Ham game, so I don't really know. But,
I'll go. You could. I don't know. Kirkes played well, but then there was many a times I thought that Madueke also got past him and that.
It's a good battle.
Diouf, clean sheet away from home. All right, we'll stick with Diouf. Midfield. All right, I'll do my midfield. I've gone Milner to score a goal like that at that age. I thought Brooks, Bournemouth was excellent, and Paqueta. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Under a lot of pressure. Everyone's think he's leaving, stuff like that. He looks like he's staying. He's kissing the badge and everything, and the phone celebration and that. That was my midfield.
I think it's difficult because there's been some really good performances in games I'll admittedly say I've only seen the highlights of. So I liked Gruder, but he only came on for a cameo. So I agree Milner played the full game. Paqueta I've got. And I actually got a message from somebody about this, and they said, if you don't put a Sunderland player in, you're dodgy. And I said, well, who? And they said, well, you got to put Lefebvre or Xhaka in. I said, well, who? And they said Xhaka was brilliant. So I put Xhaka in because I needed a holding midfielder. But I didn't watch the game, so I don't know. But I'm just putting the shout out. Somebody from this guy is like, Xhaka was brilliant.
All right, for that Sunderland fan, we're gonna put Xhaka in. We put Xhaka in there.
Got him in
that Sunderland fan. Yeah, I mean, it's true. Sometimes we do overlook those clubs, only because we didn't get to see the full game. So
it's hard to watch 90 minutes of every game, innit?
Okay, give me your front three.
I've got Bowen, Grealish, and Mbeumo.
Oh, okay, Mbeumo. I've gone Grealish, Semenyo, and Bowen. Because I thought Semenyo was brilliant at Spurs.
Yeah, much. I don't mind whichever, really. I mean, obviously, I'd love Mbeumo to be in there as a Man United fan. They might not get many Man United players in it this year, to be fair. And he was good, but...
Semenyo, I mean, listen, 1-0 away at Tottenham in a game that you're expected to lose. Everyone's saying how great Tottenham have been, which they have been good so far. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to overrule you, Mark. Semenyo's going in.
I've got another shout out, though. Apparently, from that same game, Sunderland-Brentford, wasn't it? Apparently, they've got a guy up front, Thiago, who's been injured a lot, who was brilliant. He might be one to watch in future weeks. So there you go. Okay. I didn't watch it, so I'm just giving the info.
Want to watch the Sunderland? The Sunderland fans have got into him. People, look, he's got soft. He's gone all soft for Sunderland. You know what I mean?
No, he's Brentford. Played up front for Brentford.
Thiago. Oh, Brentford.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah, they lost, but apparently he was really good.
Okay, but losing the game, you don't really. I mean, I was thinking Mosquera, but I was like, we lost, but he didn't do anything wrong. No defender on Arsenal's team did anything wrong. It's just, I mean, you can't stop that. I think that
Szoboszlai goal is just so good because it's like it shuts people up. Like all the moaners, like even Liverpool fans when they win, they're really happy, and you're happy because it's a worldie, but you can't do anything about that. It's a 0-0 game. And then someone steps up and does something that no one else can do. And you just sort of have to just go.
Quality.
What can you do? Even Raya, when they went to Raya, didn't he? And he was sort of like went, what can I do? You don't see a goalkeeper normally go, what can I do? And he knows he can't do anything. Yeah,
no, it was a great goal. Anyway, Mark, thank you very much. We'll be back. Oh, no, it's an international break this week. So we're going to be back the following week with the predictions. I can't wait because there was so many results this week that just went against the grain. I can't wait to see what the results are. So you'll get to find it out when we get over onto Mark's channel. But thanks for the show. Enjoy your international break. I'm going to enjoy it. The end of the transfer window. I can't wait until the end of today. Be able to get some sleep for the next few weeks.
I know what you mean.
All right. Take care, mate.